Barcelona, a city of history, tourists and culture. However, underneath the attractive exterior is a darker, more troubled city and economy. Barcelona is one of the most densely populated European cities, with 15,990 people per square kilometre and a population of over 5 million people. With the unemployment rate at 24%, housing prices impossibly high, and a lack of job opportunities, the community is becoming desperate to make ends meet. This is where the concept of the sharing economy, or the informal economy, comes into play. In order to continue living in this tourist-dense metropolis, many have turned to making their money through alternative means. Airbnb, sharing startup companies and street vending are all innovative tax-free ways to make money in an increasingly expensive city. These new means of income aren't without their issues and complications. On our trip to Barcelona, we talked to a number of different people who participated in the sharing economy and shed some light on the relevance of the informal economy to Barcelona as a city.
Barcelona is an expensive city. It's an expensive city because if you compare with the salaries that you have here, you know, if to have a good quality of life, it's like most of the people. You have to try to find out always something extra. But if you want to really enjoy the city, you have to have money, and the salaries, they don't let you really enjoy. So many people that I know, they have their jobs, but they have to look for something extra.
For you to freelance work anywhere, you have to pay around about 300 euros a month just for the right. Then you pay tax on top of that. So there's no breaks for people just starting out. There's no kind of like, good on you for taking initiative and like, here's a boost from the government. It's actually the opposite. You're punished for having initiative and wanting to work on your own. So I think that's why forums that make it at least semi-legal or in that grey area, like Airbnb, like Eat With, they have success here because people feel a bit safer to start off doing something on their own if they're working within a framework that has protections and lawyers and things like that.
I think that there are two things here. One is the Barcelona is a very liberal city. You know, there's people from all over the world, and that makes it. I think our mentality as a city, as citizens, is much more open-minded than many other cities in the south of Europe or entire Europe. And then on the other part is there's a lot of people looking for an extra income. There's a lot of young people, and there's a lot of unemployment. So you know, any type of extra income is always welcome.
Without this selling here in the bar at the street, I cannot pay my master.
Driven by convenience and finance, the sharing economy is a global phenomenon shaking up transport, tourism, entertainment, equipment hire, and even storage. It is a new frontier that rests with a network of services that provide access to products without the burden of ownership. Yet, as collaborative consumption platforms continue to emerge and gain popularity, governments are lagging behind and struggling to enforce any kind of regulation.
But then Airbnb, I think it exploded, and then everyone started to see, you know, the regulations. The hotels, they started to complain, and a lot of people, the young people that come and start to, you know, tourists, naked in the streets, you know, doing a lot of noise, doing whatever in the balconies, in the streets very small, even closer than this one. So all the neighborhood was complaining. So they started to reinforce the laws with this. And then they say, okay, no, it can be like this. So they started to put like a tax for the owners. Like if you are not the owner, you can't do this. And if you are the owner, you have to pay a tax. And then you have the permission, you can do it for someone else. So I know that the regulations now are very hard. But it's different if you rent only a room. It's only a room is almost the same as if you rent it for a long term. But I just know this about regulations, but they are really hard.
And there's plenty of people on Airbnb, for example, who are like renting out a spare room or something like that, and then making a bit of extra cash on the side, which is fantastic. And a lot of those people need that extra cash desperately because they're paid so poorly, their contracts are so bad, or they're one of the millions of people who are unemployed in this country. But then there are people who own or are renting 100 apartments in Barcelona, and they're not from Spain, those people, and they're going it on Airbnb. Maybe they're not paying tax, they're certainly not paying hotel licenses and things like that, and then you can see how that can be a threat to the health of the local economy, including the sharing economy.
Just now, I suppose that the worst thing about collective consumption is that in a lot of countries doesn't exist regulations about it. Then it makes the collective consumption something dark and not 100% legal. This is the worst thing. The other worst thing maybe, but from my point of view it's not bad, that it's gonna disturb a lot some big companies and established business, like for example the taxis with the Uber. This is an example that what can happen with collective consumption, because it defends that the open markets, free mind, everyone can do it, and I really agree with that. This is the worst thing, but doesn't mean something bad. I mean, it's something good, but the worst thing of collective consumption, because I really don't see bad things. Maybe some markets are going to be destroyed, but are going to change, not disappear. But I really think that the last final, the result, it's going to be more work and more benefits for everyone.
There's people now, there are people working in the government that they're fully, they're fully conscious that this has to happen, and actually they're moving towards it. They want to be one of the first countries that legalize it somehow, all this. Which now it's like a gray area, legally speaking, right? It's not very clear for all the sharing economies. So I think both legally and both in terms of expansion, it will grow a lot in the coming years, that's for sure. I'm driving to Madrid tomorrow. I have a car for 5 people. I'm going alone. It's kind of so clear that it has to happen. That we all share things to make our society more efficient.
We are trying to translate the website to Greek these next days, because Greece is maybe gonna break economical. Then alternatives like that save the people, really save the people, because it seems only a website, but it's a website that allows anyone that without money, only with their time, can access to the services that anyone can give him, or stuff. I mean, with your second-hand objects, you can access to other second-hand objects without money. It means a lot for people that doesn't have money. For us, maybe it's okay, it's an alternative. No, I prefer to sell, I prefer to receive the money. Okay, but from other people, other countries, other communities, it can be a salvation or super useful in any way.